Welcome to on this episode. I'm featuring the Patriots for Economic Progress leader or president, Dr. Tembo, and he's also Mr. Sean Tembo, and he is also the Tonse Alliance spokesperson. And he's actually here to help me discuss a lot of issues that are actually driving the conversations in the country. President Tembo, thank you so much for allowing us into your home and, of course, for having us here.
Thank you for coming, Shosta, and a very good morning to all the people out there.
Thank you. So, from wherever you could be watching, us from on various Facebook pages, there's a number on the screen that will be able to allow you to come through later on and have a conversation with, the PEP president or the PEP president later on as we go on in the show. But, Mr. Tembo, for people that have not followed you for a long time, we have seen pictures of you wearing a police uniform.
Yeah.
Just run us through, when you joined the police service, when you left, up until you decided to open your own political party.
Okay, so maybe just a recap of my life story.
Yes.
I was born here in Osaka, in Mtendere compound.
Okay.
I went to Shitokugo Primary School in the C section of Mtendere. I come from Eastern Province, Jabu village under Chief Kapatamoyo in Chipata district. I'm Angoni by tribe. From Shitokugo, I went to Kablonga Boys up to grade 9. That was 1993. Then I went to Livingstone, Hillcrest, 94, 95, or rather 95, 96, 97.
Mm-hmm.
I left Hillcrest, went to Copperbelt University. I did a Bachelor of Accountancy there from 99, 2000, 201 up to 202 when I completed. From there, I joined one of the international audit firms,
Mm-hmm.
PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Yes.
And I was there for a while. I left to start my own firm in 2005. I started my own firm, audit firm. I later on opened offices in 2007. I opened an office in Aboroni.
Yes.
And 2008, I opened
in
Botswana.
Botswana. Okay.
In 2008, I opened an office in Johannesburg. So I had 3 offices. So I just used to go around. And then in 2009, in the same 2008, I went to the UK to do my master's in business administration. Then in 2010, I decided to join the Zambia Police Service as a reserve.
In 2010.
End of 2009, actually, up to 2012. So I wasn't a regular officer.
This is after you've traveled the world, you've had the masters.
Yeah.
Nice.
I wanted to contribute to the civic service of my country. I'm a nationalist. I love Zambia, and I believe we can do great things with our country, given the resources we have, the peace and stability that we enjoy. I think it has great potential, and I've always wanted to serve my country in a way. So I decided to join the reserve service for the Zambia Police. And I decided to join politics in 2012, actually.
2012, okay.
Yes. After the late Michael Sata came to office, I wanted to add again to, the development of my country. And
before we go to you joining politics, how did you leave the service?
I resigned.
Was there some things that made you resign?
Because I wanted to join politics.
Oh, okay.
So you couldn't be a police officer and also be a politician. Yeah. So, I looked around. My initial intuition was to join one of the existing political parties.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, there were 3 main political parties. That was the Patriotic Front, which was in office.
Yes.
There was the UPND, which was coming up very strongly.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the MMD, which was, in its late days, so to speak, So I looked around, I engaged a number of people in all the 3 major political parties, and I felt I couldn't quite fit in any of them.
In any of them?
Yes.
Okay.
Largely because of their, vision and focus towards developing this country, when you analyze the philosophies of all those political parties at the time, you would realize that there was not much difference. It was pretty much like one political party.
Oh, really?
Yes. You know, so
For
I wanted
the UPND, the PF, and the
yes,
MMD.
I wanted something, a party which was revolutionary, a party which would challenge the status quo of how we are doing things, and just make a 180-degree turn to the way we do things, the mindset of our people, and just drive us on a path of progress and prosperity.
Wonderful.
And there was nothing at the time. I did engage Honorable Chipimo for a while with his narrative.
Yes.
And at one point, I was very compelled to join him. And then I felt he started slowing down a little bit in terms of his activism. So that is what compelled me to consider starting a fresh political party from scratch. So when you look at the Patriots for Economic Progress,
Yes.
and our manifesto, we are very different. We are revolutionary. Our view is that we need to totally change the way we do things in this country. We need to change the mindset of our people so that we can be more productive. If you put a Zambian there and you put a West African there, a Nigerian or a Ugandan, you'll find that an average Zambian is not that driven to achieve greater things. An average Nigerian or Ugandan is more driven. Even if you go to an office, some of us have traveled most of Africa.
Yes.
You go to just a small Kantemba, the service you'll get, even here locally, the service you get from a Zambian land Kantemba will be different from the service you get from a Rwandan shop land Kantemba. You understand? So I feel that we are not driven enough to achieve more as a people. And I feel that our leaders have a role to play in changing the mindset of the citizens so that we can be more motivated to achieve greater things. It is only when the individual citizens are motivated to achieve greater things that the country as a whole can actually be able to achieve greater things.
So tell me, as the PEP, how would you plan to change the mindset of an ordinary Zambian into being driven?
I believe that a Republican president has a very big role to play in motivating the citizens. People always underestimate the power of a head of state. You know, each and every citizen looks up to the head of state for direction.
Yes.
And you as a head of state, there are ways you influence the citizens in ways that you don't even realize. I'm sure I remember the times of KK when pretty much everybody started wearing safari suits.
Yes.
Nobody ordered the citizens to start wearing safari suits, but they were looking up to their president. You understand? So you as a president, apart from running the affairs of a nation, I believe that you have a duty and obligation to motivate the citizens in a particular direction. So for me, if I was Republican president, I would ensure that I gradually, changing the mindset is not something that happens overnight. It's something that has to be gradual. And it's not just about rhetoric. You need to lead by example. You can't tell people to work hard and sacrifice. Meanwhile, you are enjoying luxury. You understand? You are wasting taxpayers' money by making trips from the office to your home for lunch and in the evening with a motorcade of 20 vehicles, burning fuel, which is taxpayers' money, and yet you're telling the citizens to sacrifice. So it has to be something you lead by example. You saw how the late former president Muammar Gaddafi was able to motivate the Libyans into productivity. He was living in a tent, and he made a commitment to the people to say, for as long as each and every Libyan is not accommodated in decent housing, I'm not going to shift from this tent. I'll continue to live in this tent. I want to be the last Libyan to leave a tent and live in a decent house.
Yes.
So when you act like that as a leader, you motivate the citizens, and the citizens will be able to follow your direction. They will be motivated to achieve more. And when the citizens are motivated to achieve more, then you find that the country as a whole will be able to achieve more.
I have noticed, because I know somehow partly we're already talking about our incumbent president. I have noticed the president is a businessman himself, a very successful businessman. I have noticed also on different fora he has encouraged Zambians to be productive. He's actually even said, do even a backyard even at your house. Let's build something, let's sell something. also, I have noticed how they have gone around giving CDF equitably, around the country. Shouldn't that also the free education, trying to educate an ordinary mind so that an ordinary mind can be able to attain certain opportunities? Doesn't that count for motivating an ordinary mind to succeed, to proceed?
No, not at all. Not at all. That might appear to contribute towards that, but that contribution is not significant to make a difference. The things that are significant and that would make a difference is to ensure that, for instance, you make sure that the citizens and small businesses are given electricity for them to be able to operate. So the president is on record saying that it's more profitable to actually export the power and earn dollars than provide power locally.
Yes.
So the question is, how are SMEs going to operate? You go to an average establishment, if it's a bar, the beers are warm. If it's a salon, it's closed. If it's a welding machine,
Barbershop is not.
yes. If it's a welding workshop, they are running a genset at great cost. So, in as much as he might be a successful businessman himself, you find that he is not contributing to helping others succeed in business, especially the small guys. So when you act like that, then it's very difficult to actually motivate citizens to achieve greater things, and by extension, to allow the nation to actually prosper and progress economically.
Wonderful. Moving on, Mr. President. Just in case you're tuning in, I'm having a conversation with a PEP president, Mr. Tembo. Later on the show, I'll be able to allow you to come through and have a conversation with him. Just keep your questions. My producer says we have a lot of phone calls, waiting on the line, but I'll be able to allow you soon. Mr. President, you have recently joined forces with former President Edgar Lungu, a man whose administration presided over cadres who physically attacked you when you staged a peaceful protest. I remember that, and I think I used to talk about that. I used to condemn that a lot. So I remember that very well. My question to you is, how do you reconcile your values with this partnership that you have done? Is it a strategic move due to his numbers, or there's something that has changed with the president, with the former president?
Shosta, my belief is that there is no leader who is perfect. So you have a scale. If you were to rate any leader, whether current or former, you would rate them on a scale of maybe 100 to 0.
Yes.
Yeah. So if I was to rate President Edgar Lungu's administration, I would put it at, say, 70%. Okay? And if I was to
the same administration that will stop a gentleman like you,
yes,
who
I'll
would
explain. I'll
okay.
explain.
Okay.
And if I was to rate President Hakainde Hichilema's administration, I would put it at about 30%.
30%?
Yes.
The UPND 30%, the administration?
Yes, the
PEP
PF administration,
70%.
I would give them 70%.
Okay.
Yeah, because if I was to give you a few examples, for you to develop a third world country like Zambia, there are certain basic things that you need to do.
Yes.
You need to ensure you have infrastructure development.
Yes.
Because if you put tarmac to a bush, that bush 2 or 3 years along the line will be a town because of the tarmac, just the tarmac. You understand? Yes. So you can't talk about developing a third world country like Zambia without infrastructure development. And for me, the main reason I would give the Patriotic Front administration a 70% is because of their focus on infrastructure development. That is not to say they didn't do certain things wrongly. They did a number of things wrongly, including the issue of cadreism. You rightly pointed out that I was attacked and my party members when we were protesting against the fire tenders along Cairo Road. That was totally wrong. So those are some of the things that the Patriotic Front administration did wrongly. Okay. You look at the current administration. The current administration, in my view, have got no idea of what it takes to develop a nation like Zambia. You won't be able to develop a nation such as Zambia if you simply move budget lines. Instead of the Ministry of Home Affairs buying vehicles for police stations, you get that budget line and give it to CDF, and the vehicles for police are bought by CDF, and you think you've made progress. You think just shifting budget lines is going to bring about national development. It won't. You can't develop a country like Zambia if you are failing to provide a key production component to the businesses, such as electricity. If you are failing to ensure stability of pricing for key production inputs such as fuel, you are revising fuel prices every month, and the cost of electricity, whenever it's available, is too high, then it means you are not helping to develop the country. And you can develop a country, a third world country like Zambia, if you don't have a strong focus towards infrastructure development, because we need infrastructure. You understand? The PF, like I said, did a number of things wrongly, but at least they had an idea of what it would take to develop a country like such as Zambia. So that is the basis. To answer your other question, what has compelled myself and the Patriots for Economic Progress to join forces with President Edgar Lungu and the Patriotic Front under the umbrella of the Tonse Alliance? Our view is that for a political movement to deliver to the expectations and aspirations of the Zambian people, you need experience and you need innovation. So experience comes from the people who have been in government before, because they've run the affairs of the nation, they have made mistakes, and they know the mistakes they've made. Because when you are removed from power, you are able to think more properly than when you are in power. So the Patriotic Front did a number of things right. That's why I gave them 70%. They made a number of mistakes. Now they are out of office. That does not mean they are useless. They are not useless. They are very useful to the overall development of the country because of their experience. However, just them and their experience, again, is not enough. You need the fresh minds. You need the fresh brains to fuse with the experience so that you have a combination of experience and innovation. And that's where other party members, such as myself, such as President Peter Shanda and other members of the Tonse Alliance come in. I believe that that combination of experience and innovation, the old and the new, will be able to better deliver on the expectations of the Zambian people in 2026. Better than if you just have experience alone without innovation, yes, or innovation alone without experience. Because innovation alone without experience, you end up repeating the same mistakes that other administrations have made before.
Would he have welcomed you had he won the 2021 elections?
You would have to ask him that question. I can't answer on his behalf.
I'm pretty much sure we have the idea. We'll be letting the public on anytime soon. About a week ago, Mr. Tembo, you informed the nation that the Tonse Alliance had received an application from the Socialist Party, led by Dr. Fred Membe, to join the alliance. You also mentioned that you were discussing with the SP leadership, discussing with the specific terms and conditions, and you said that you would actually give an update. Yes. However, we know that there's a viral audio recording which is believed to feature Miss Akende Membe, who's the daughter to Dr. Fred Membe, as well as SP National Youth Chairman Mr. Kelvin Kaunda, allegedly discussing plans to oust Alliance Chairman Dr. Edgar Lungu on that voice note. My question to you is, how do you think this situation would actually affect the Socialist Party's application to join the alliance?
Well, for us as Tonse Alliance, Shosta, we believe in numbers. We believe that for the alliance to more definitely win next year's general election, we need as many numbers as possible. And that is why when the Socialist Party submitted their application to join the Tonse Alliance, we were very happy because we believe that we need numbers, no matter how few those numbers are. However, our belief is equally that we need numbers that will add to our efforts to form government next year,
yes,
and not subtract from those efforts.
Yes.
So whenever anyone submits an application, the main factor that we consider is, can this person or can this political party add to our efforts to form government next year, and not subtract to those efforts. And one of the things we consider is that before you join the Tonse Alliance, you must be able to agree to and comply with the rules and regulations of the Tonse Alliance. And you must be ready and willing to accept the authority, the established authority structures in the Tonse Alliance. And when an application comes, we spend a lot of time engaging with the leadership of that particular political party so that we let them know what the Tonse constitution says and explain to them in clear terms whether they agree with that. The reason we do that, Shosta, is because we are cognizant of the fact that when a political party comes to join an alliance, that political party is obviously led by a president.
Yes.
And that president, as is the case in all political parties in Africa, especially the opposition, that president will be the alpha and omega of their respective political party.
Yes.
And then when they come to join the alliance, they would have to be subjected to a higher authority. You understand? So there's that transition. And that transition doesn't work very well for some people because they are used to being the person with the final say in the running of their political party. And then all of a sudden they are under the umbrella of an alliance and they need to be subjected to higher authority. I hope you get my point.
I understand.
So we spend a lot of time to explain what membership to the Tonse Alliance means and the fact that they need to subscribe to the established chain of command within the alliance. That said, talking about the Socialist Party specifically, there is that audio which allows, of course, and consequent to that audio, we are cognizant of the fact that the people captured in that audio does not include the president.
President of the SP, no.
Of course, he was referred to in the audio, but he wasn't part of the conversation.
What were the exact contents of the audio, in case for people who missed it?
It's better to listen to it. It's available on Facebook. You can search for it. You find it.
Yes.
It's difficult.
Yes.
I might misquote.
Yeah, you might misquote. Yes.
Yes. So we are cognizant of that fact. We are also cognizant of the fact that those individuals captured in that audio, that is Mr. Kelvin Kaunda and Ms. Akende, might have been having that discussion without the sanction of their political party or the sanction of the party president. We are cognizant of that possibility, you understand? And that is the reason why when the audio came to light, we did not go about accusing people of things. We wrote to the Socialist Party and asked Dr. Fred Membe, who is the president of the Socialist Party, to provide an explanation of that particular audio. Is it that he is part of that? Is that discussion sanctioned by his party, or it was done in isolation by those two individuals? And if it was done in isolation, what disciplinary action is he going to take against those two individuals? You understand? And our expectation when we wrote to the Socialist Party president was that he would quickly write to us, because that is a grave matter.
Yes.
Trying to topple leadership of the alliance, that's a grave matter. So our expectation, Shosta, was that he would quickly respond and he would distance himself from that audio, and he would assure us that he is investigating the matter and he will take disciplinary action against the two senior party members involved. That would have given us some comfort that indeed the things discussed in that audio do not represent the position of the entire Socialist Party in relation to the Tonse Alliance.
When you say your expectation was that he would quickly respond, the response, you expected it within hours, or should you give him at least days?
Given the gravity of the matter, Shosta, the answer is yes. We expected a response in a matter of hours. Not only written, but even a telephone call and say, we are in receipt of your letter. This matter is very unfortunate, ABCD, but we are addressing it. We'll write to you shortly. You understand? Even if a letter is going to follow in the subsequent days, that would still be acceptable to us. You understand? But I must mention that we were quite disappointed when there was a statement that was issued by the Socialist Party, and which was shared on the Socialist Party President, Dr. Fred Membe's Facebook page. That statement was issued by the Deputy Secretary General of the Socialist Party, in which the gentleman, I can't remember his name, he basically tried to trivialize the matter and treat it as a non-issue.
What did they say?
Again, it's difficult to quote someone other than just paraphrase the substance of the letter, that they made an attempt to trivialize the matter and
Like it's not
treat
serious.
it, yes, like it's a non-issue. It's not a serious issue. So we were quite disappointed with that response, because to us as Tonse Alliance, what that meant is that it creates the possibility that the discussion that those two senior members of the Socialist Party were having might be representing the official position of the Socialist Party.
Maybe another
And
question
let
I
me
should
just finish. And that they might actually be endorsed by the leadership of the Socialist Party, including the president himself. It creates that possibility. Yeah.
Have the Socialist Party been successfully integrated into the Tonse Alliance as we speak?
No. So, like I mentioned at the beginning, Shosta, in terms of the procedures for admission of the Tonse Alliance, once an application comes, we engage the leadership of the political party, explaining to them, first of all, we share the constitution. After we share the constitution, we allow them to read through the constitution. After they've read the constitution, we then convene a meeting. A small subcommittee of the alliance meets the leadership of that political party to then discuss the constitution in detail, just to make sure that the people coming on board fully understand what the Tonse constitution dictates. And then once that is done, and you've clarified everything, they are required to sign a document, which is an appendix to the constitution, to say that they will abide by the Tonse constitution. That has not been done. In terms of where we are today, we've shared the Tonse constitution with the Socialist Party. We haven't had that meeting to discuss the constitution and for them to sign an appendix to the constitution to commit themselves that they will abide by the constitution of the Tonse Alliance.
That has not happened.
That has not happened. Once they've signed that document, what then happens is that the application will then be tabled before the Council of Leaders to say, we have this political party. They have applied to join the Tonse Alliance. We've shared the Tonse Alliance constitution with them. They've read the constitution. We've a subcommittee of the Council of Leaders has met with the leadership of this political party, and they've since signed to commit that they will abide by the Tonse constitution, and their agreement to commit is here. Okay. And therefore, we are asking you, the Tonse Alliance Council of Leaders, if we can admit this political party or not. And then it is put to a vote or by consensus. Then we proceed from there. If the Council of Leaders says we admit them, then we admit them.
In the interest of time, Mr. Tembo, even before we talk about 2026 elections, if tomorrow there's a by-election and someone wants to support the Tonse Alliance, do you have plans of being registered, even as a political party, or how do we go into an election knowing that it's an alliance but not registered, but then there's like a lot of political parties in there?
So the concept of the Tonse Alliance is that it is different from other alliances that you might have come across. When creating the Tonse Alliance, we designed it in such a way that it is first of all convenient to operationalize, and also to make it interference-proof from government operatives who might try to interfere with it, both from a regulation point of view as well as a court system point of view. If you look at the way the UPND government have been taking over political parties or destabilizing political parties, it is using two critical tools, either the Registrar of Societies or the courts of law, because they've essentially hijacked both. So the Tonse Alliance is designed in such a way that we do not subscribe to any registration. We do not subscribe to any regulatory authority, such as the Registrar of Societies. Equally, disputes within the Tonse Alliance are subjected to internal resolution mechanisms, meaning that you cannot take a dispute within the Tonse Alliance to a court of law. And the reason we do that is because we know the courts of law are compromised. The moment we take a dispute of a Tonse Alliance to a court of law, it is first of all going to be aligned, or rather allocated to a UPND aligned judge. And that UPND aligned judge will sit on that particular matter. First of all, they will issue an adverse injunction, which will cripple the alliance, and then sit on that particular case for a lot of months, if not years, thereby crippling the operations of the alliance. So we designed the Tonse Alliance to make it interference-proof. And I hope that answers your question in terms of registration. We are not designed in a manner that requires us to register ourselves.
So, but then people can only vote for a registered entity. What is the plan going forward? Like, if there were by-elections tomorrow, only registered entities can appear on the ballot paper.
That question, Shosta, is self-explanatory, because the Tonse Alliance has been taking part in elections since we formed ourselves.
With different...
And we've even won one by-election, the Petaoka Central Parliamentary seat. How did we win it? Because we used a particular vehicle. So any of the vehicles within the Tonse Alliance can be used as a platform to field candidates, either in by-elections or in the general election.
What is the plan? What is the plan going into 2026?
What do you mean exactly?
A presidential candidate. Have we come up with a consensus on who you are going to support, or who's going to stand representing the Tonse Alliance?
So, Shosta, you must understand that when we launched the Tonse Alliance, which was on the 7th of November, 2024, one of the first orders of business was for us as an alliance to adopt a presidential candidate for 2026. And the position of the alliance has not changed. We adopted the candidate for 2026, and that candidate was no other than the 60th Republican President, His Excellency Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu. We are aware of the fact that our preferred candidate for 2026 did suffer a minor setback on the 10th of December 2024, when the Constitutional Court ruled that he was not eligible to stand in the 2026 presidential election.
The future election.
Yes, or any future election. And I'm sure you're aware that we have since challenged that particular judgment of the court for illegality, for contravening the Constitution. And that matter is before the courts of law right now, because it's a clear matter, really, Shosta. When you look at Article 52, Sub-Article 4 of the Constitution, it provides clear guidance of how you can challenge the eligibility of someone to stand in an election. And the Constitution requires that that person must have first filed a nomination. Yes. And then you have a period of 7 days to challenge their eligibility. Clearly, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu has not filed any nomination to stand in 2026 yet. So the Constitutional Court abrogated. They contravened the Constitution. And that one, Shosta, is a matter of common sense. Even a grade 7 civics pupil will tell you that the Constitutional Court contravened the Constitution, let alone a full bench of learned justices of the Constitutional Court. So we've challenged them. We've taken the matter back to court and said, you, the Constitutional Court, contravened the Constitution here. So we are waiting for them to tell us how they'll go around that particular hurdle. Because you must understand that in terms of the jurisdiction of the Constitutional Court, it is to interpret the Constitution. It is not to amend or enact the Constitution. So when you talk about the rules of interpretation, the first rule of interpretation is the literal text. Mm-hmm. That text in Article 52, Sub-Article 4 is very clear. Even a grade 7 pupil can understand it. It has no controversy. You can't interpret it otherwise. You understand? So our belief is that we have the Constitutional Court pinned to the ground. And when the matter comes up for judgment, there is no mingalato that the Constitutional Court will play this time around. Will ensure that they pronounce Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu as a due candidate for 2026. I'll answer a question which I know you would ask, or if you didn't ask, other people might ask out there, but I'll answer it before you ask it.
Please, please.
Yeah, and that question is, why is it that you, as Sean Tembo, you are insisting on Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu to be the candidate for 2026 when the Zambian people already rejected him in 2021? Yeah, that's a question that comes often. The bottom line, Shosta, is that number one, the fact that the Zambian people reject you today does not necessarily mean that the Zambian people reject you tomorrow. The same applies to any other electorate. Look at Donald Trump. He was rejected by the American people in the 2020 election in preference for Joe Biden. You fast forward 4 years along the line, he had the biggest victory in decades. The same people who had rejected him 4 years earlier. So the fact that you might have been rejected at one point does not mean that you eternally be rejected. So we are confident that the Zambian people have since realized that they are better off with 70% than they are right now with 30%. You understand?
I hear you.
Additionally, for me personally, as Sean Tembo, the issue of Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu's eligibility is an issue that transcends beyond politics. It's an issue of justice. It's an issue of human rights. We cannot have a situation whereby the entire constitutional court acts very unfairly towards this particular individual. Acts very unfairly towards this particular individual, maybe because of political influence or because of a total misinterpretation of the law. We cannot afford such an injustice to be perpetrated on this single. Let me just finish. Let me just finish. We cannot allow an injustice to be perpetrated on Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu. So we want to correct that injustice. If along the way, after we get the judgment that we deserve, that Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu is eligible to stand in 2026, once we get that judgment, if along the way President Edgar Lungu decides that he doesn't want to stand in 2026, then he is going to be at liberty to identify any of us within the Tonse Alliance to say, you will be the candidate.
I want you to continue with that explanation, but if along the way the judgment still stands the way it is that he is not eligible to stand, who are your top 3 picks from the Tonse Alliance to contest for the top job?
So the background to that question, to answering that question, which is very important, Shosta, is that, first of all, as Tonse Alliance, we already have a presidential candidate for 2026. Who is he? Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu. So if for any reason Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu is not available to stand, then it is him.
It's just him alone.
It is him who must then identify.
You see let me
just finish.
It
is him who must identify who would best replace him.
Okay, great. I hear you. You've answered the question. The issue that we have seen just in the country is the problem of looking at one leader. I don't think this is any political party is free from this. The problem of looking at one person as the president who can rule the country forever. The issue of grooming someone to take over is not very, very strong in this country. You have seen what has happened with the PF. The PF have failed to transition properly into knowing who is going to take over from ECL. And hence we have Mao Sampa, we have Mr. Ngona, we have Edgar Lungu himself. If just as a Tonse Alliance, if you could actually already have the structure to say it's ECL's time, and if ECL decides he will not stand, these are the other options. That's better off. Because already you might have the courts still stand on what they interpreted.
But for now, Shosta,
we're not ruling him out, but I'm just saying, like, what if the court still says he's not eligible?
We'll cross that bridge
when we get there.
Yes.
Let's engage the public. There's a number on the screen. You could give us a call, and if you have any contributions, any questions towards the Tonse Alliance spokesperson or the PEP president, Mr. Sean Tembo, you could actually come through and have a conversation with him. Hello there.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from?
I am Moses Piri calling you from within Lusaka.
Moses Piri from within Lusaka.
Yes.
Sir, you have 2 minutes. Please have a conversation with Mr. Sean Tembo.
Yes, Mr. Tembo, how are you, sir?
Very well, Mr. Piri. How are you?
I'm okay. Yeah, so I'm looking at the issue of ECL. The judgment that was passed on 10th December last year, and then you have taken that case back to the court. Do you expect a different judgment from the same court under this regime? Because what I'm thinking is that you're delaying yourself. You don't have so much time. What I thought when the judgment was passed on the 10th December was that ECL will endorse another candidate, and then you now mobilize yourselves around that one candidate towards the election. But the step that you have taken of taking that case back to the court, you're actually delaying yourselves. You see, get the point. And you're also losing the people. Because right now, the only hope that people have is with you as Tonse Alliance. But by virtue of you taking that case back to the court, you're delaying yourselves because you don't have the luxury of time. You see? Time is not on your side. The best you have done was let ECL endorse another person. The point is that either ECL is on the ballot paper or outside the ballot paper, it's still going to influence next election. You get the point? The other thing is, let ECL endorse someone else. And then you run with that person. But you going back to the same court, expecting this judgment under this regime, you rightly said the courts are compromised. So don't go back to the same compromise because and then expect a different ruling. Don't do that.
Sir, let's conclude. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome, sir.
Can I respond to that?
You may quickly before we continue.
Yeah. So Mr. Piri raised two issues. Number one is can we as Tonse Alliance expect different judgment from the Constitutional Court?
You said the courts are compromised, yes. But you're going back to the courts, the same court expecting a different result. That's his.
Yes. That's his. The second submission was that we are wasting our time. We are delaying ourselves. I'll start with the first one. Our view, Shosta, as well as Mr. Piri, is that it is possible to get a different result from the Constitutional Court. Yes, it is possible, despite the fact that we believe the court is compromised. Because even a person who is compromised, if you pin them to the ground and they don't have anywhere to maneuver, they'll have no option but to do the right thing. Okay. So it is possible. Okay. Yes.
Quickly, I want to add on another call.
Yes. Talking about the issue of us delaying ourselves, we believe that, if we do things properly and we don't rush things, we are going to garner even more support. I'm sure you remember that the late former president, Patrick Manawasa, Levi Manawasa rather, was only introduced to the people by the late former president Frederick Chiluba barely 2 months before the election, and he proceeded to win. Yes. So a month in politics is a long time. There's no need to rush by doing wrong things. We need to make clear to the Zambian people that the reason ECL is not on the ballot, if he is not going to be on the ballot, is because of an injustice that was perpetrated on him.
Hi there, good morning.
Good morning, thank you, sir. How are you?
Very fine, thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
This is Chingabe Henry calling from Mufrira.
Mr. Chingabe calling from Mufrira.
Yes, please.
Please go ahead and talk to Mr. Sean Tembo.
Mr. Sean Tembo, good morning.
A very good morning to you, Mr. Chingabe. And how is Mufrira today?
We are doing well, thank you.
You may go on, please. I only have 2 minutes.
Just make a simple contribution in 2 minutes, like you said. One thing that I'll make mention, Mr. Sean Tembo, is you've been wasting time going forth to the courts and back in the name of trying to get sympathy or whatsoever. As long as you are not moving forward in choosing a person who should stand and carry the umbrella of the Tonse, you are doing nothing. It's just confusion after confusion, just like you've met with your fellow friends in the zero situations, like you are Mr. Sean Zeros. So please, wake up. It's late. It's time up. It's a high time you organize your organization called Tonse. Not today, this one joins. Tomorrow we are hearing this person downgrading you in the radio stations like what Mr. Karaba is doing and other people. Just to grow up. Stop working in this manner of disorganization, being disorganized. We can't even vote you as voters because you are all disorganized. You have no direction. How can we be led by someone who has no direction? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your quick response?
Well, with respect to the opinions of Mr. Chingabe, however, I must mention that it's easy to give a simplistic opinion on a particular matter if you are not privy to all the facts and all the variables. The only thing I can do at this point, Shosta, is that I can assure our supporters, our Tonse Around supporters, that...
sorry, the producer has added a call. We'll continue from there. Hi there, good morning.
Morning, thank you. Mr. Tembo, good morning.
A very good morning to you, sir.
Yes, I want to make a quick contribution. This is Chandakawe from Lusaka.
Mr. Kawe from Lusaka. You may go on, please.
Yes, we are following the development. And let me begin by saying, for me, I'm a strong supporter of PF. And I believe in His Excellency, Mr. Edgar Chagwalungu. But Mr. Sean Tembo, I want to make it clear to you that the way Tonse Alliance has been run, especially in the last few months, to be honest with you, I'm not happy, especially with how you are handling with issues. To be honest with you, just like my previous caller said, we Zambians, we don't like being part of the confusion. You can't, Zambians don't like confusion. So what is happening is, when there is an issue within Tonse, I feel you are rushing to the media before you deal with this issue as a leader. So, Mr. Sean Tembo, next time there is a program, you know that it involves Socialist Party or any other political party, you are not supposed to be rushing to the media. Look at the response that came from Socialist Party. I think you have not even realized that they distanced themselves from the audio, saying the party has been, put up some internal investigation. But you are there on that program and saying you didn't even pay attention to the statement that came from the party. So all we are saying is Zambians are watching, and let's not be confused as opposition. We know that there are some schemes. If you look at even the same audio that all of you are running with, you can tell that it was hacked from the system. Why are we saying this? Because the voices of those people, you can tell they are on the same level. You can tell that none of them recorded. So we are saying let's not be confused ourselves as opposition. And even you yourself, please don't be rushing to the media. Deal with issues internally. I thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, if you allow me to respond to that.
Yes, please. Yes.
First of all, the issue of rushing to the media. Shosta, you can only rush to the media for an issue that is private. You understand? If an issue is internal and is private, and then you expose it to the media, then someone will say you've rushed to the media. Yes. But for an issue which is viral, okay, an issue, it's in the public domain. You cannot do a response which is private. Otherwise, people will say there was no response. Yes. It's a matter of common sense, really. And on the issue of the actions that we as the Tonse Alliance took in terms of to investigate the matter, I must mention that the issue of discipline is critical in any organization. If you hope that organization to succeed, there has to be order. There has to be a hierarchy. You understand? That is why anyone who tries to join the Tonse Alliance, we make sure they agree with the Tonse Alliance constitution. Those that don't agree are free to go their separate direction. But those that come to the Tonse Alliance, they have to abide by the constitution for the simple reason that there has to be order. Even in the animal kingdom, Shosta, there is order. You understand? You see ants moving, they're not moving randomly. There's a leader there which is leading all the other ants. Mm-hmm. You understand?
Yes.
Wherever you go, there has to be order. So those individuals who feel that they are too big or too important to be subjected to the rules of the Tonse Alliance, then we are happy to excuse them because they do not want to be part of the Tonse Alliance.
I know that we have already reached the stage where we can now bring in Honorable Nakachinda and Honorable Given Winda. I will bring them in anytime soon. In the meantime, I just want us to talk to someone. Hi there. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Schuster.
Good morning. Thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
This is Alex calling you from Lusaka.
Mr. Alex, please, you have 2 minutes. Go ahead and talk to the PEP President, Mr. Sean Tembo.
Yes. How are you, Mr. President?
Very well, Mr. Alex. How are you?
I'm good, sir. Yes, I just want to encourage you about the Tonse Alliance, and my concern is about these people who are joining. You have to be careful, most especially with Savo Imboera and this. What is name?
You tell us, sir. We can't mention names here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just forgotten his name, but these people are UPND. So you have to be very careful when you are dealing with them.
Okay.
Otherwise, we are together. We are supporting you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
If I may, I think there was a pertinent submission, the other caller.
Yes.
To say that if you listen to that recording, it's probably the government which recorded it because all the voices were clear.
Same volume.
And intensity. I want to address that. The fact that that recording might have been recorded by the UPND government does not change the facts.
The conversations.
Yes, it doesn't change. Yeah. And the issue is, does the SP leadership endorse that position in that conversation or not? That's the pertinent question. The issue of saying it was recorded by the UPND government to divide Tonse is neither here nor there. The bottom line is that that conversation came to light. Are they agreeing with that conversation or not? If they are not, our expectation was for them to come out clearly and strongly and say, we don't agree with this, we'll take disciplinary measures against these individuals, which they have failed to do. And by extension, by default, they have indirectly endorsed that conversation.
Is it affecting, do you think this situation, them delaying to respond, or even the response you talked about by the SG,
Deputy SG.
Do you think it's affecting you accepting their entrance into Tonse Alliance?
Well, Shosta, you must understand that I'm just one individual member of the Council of Leaders.
Yes.
The Tonse Alliance Council of Leaders is currently constituted of about 32 members. So I cannot make that determination. But as an individual, if you ask for my opinion as an individual member of the Council of Leaders, I would say that it would negatively influence my particular opinion. Yes.
Your particular opinion.
Yes. The way they are so far handling this might negatively affect my appetite to actually accept them. But I'm not speaking on behalf of the whole council members of the Council of Leaders.
Okay, let's bring in a caller. Hello?
Yes, good morning, Shosta.
Good morning, thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
This is Philip DJ Smasher from Eastern Province.
Mr. Philip from Eastern Province.
Yes, please.
Which part of the Eastern Province?
Eastern Province, Pamene Pachipata.
Oh, Pachipata, Pamene.
Yes, this is DJ Smasher.
Okay, Smasher. Oh, thank you. Please have a conversation with Mr. Sean Tembo.
Yes, thank you so very much. President Tembo, good morning.
A very good morning to you, Mr. Philip.
Please, thank you. Loving the program and loving the discussion. Obviously, mine is, I've followed you very well, talking, as to why you've teamed up to form the Tonse Alliance. And mine is, the people of Zambia obviously are watching. And what do you want to do different administratively, obviously, from the administration currently? And you as Tonse Alliance, what do you want to do different for the people of for the people of Zambia. And obviously, I followed you, President Tembo, talking about the eligibility case and obviously talking about the experience, which is very vital, according to you, that the PF president, Dr. Edgar Chagwalungu, has the experience, and obviously him bouncing back, obviously is in a better position because he has learned some lessons and used some lessons. In a case where the situation still stands that he is not eligible to stand or contest in the 2026 or future presidential elections, what happens? Because yet you have not, or he has not endorsed another presidential candidate in a case where he is not eligible. And we needed, or you needed somebody who has experience as Tonse Alliance. What are you doing so that that candidate obviously must have the experience and the technical know-how to lead the country? What are you doing? Because yet you've not endorsed any presidential candidate, or you've not obviously given hope in the absence of Mr. Edgar Chagwalungu on other presidential.
Let's conclude, Philip.
Please, obviously that is my question. What is Tonse Alliance doing? So to have another candidate in absence of Mr. Edgar Chagwalungu in case he's not contested. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, if I may quickly answer that question, I think it's a concern that is shared by a lot of our supporters as Tonse Alliance. First of all, I must emphasize, Shosta, that the Tonse Alliance is not short of leaders. We have plenty of leaders that can just within a matter of hours be on the ticket.
Okay.
A flag bearer and a running mate. We have plenty of potential leaders. You understand? So that is not a problem. In terms of the timing, my belief is that we have a year before elections, and we still reasonably have time. But I do understand and appreciate the anxiety. It's more to do with anxiety from the people to say, what if nomination day comes and we don't have a candidate? I want to assure the Zambian people that we shall have a candidate together with a running mate on the Tonse Alliance ticket come 2026. People say, you should have identified the candidate area so that candidate can begin to tour the country.
You're selling the candidate, yeah.
I think that submission is made from a point of not understanding the current political environment. In the current political environment, Shosta, you can't even hold a rally in Mandevu here within Osaka. You'll be denied a permit. If you go ahead without a permit, you'll be arrested and you'll be at the magistrate's court the following day. So what makes people think that if we identify the candidate today and the running mate, those candidates will be allowed to tour the country? The answer to that question is they will not. They will not be allowed by the UPND government to tour the country. They will be restricted. When they try to move just an inch, they will be stoned by cadres and so on and so forth. So instead of having to endure that pain for a prolonged period of time where you are not allowed to even meet the people, it's better to have a candidate during the official campaign season, where you don't need a permit to have a rally.
Is it a possibility that you already even have a plan B and a plan C, but you're just waiting for that time?
Of course.
That is something that I would have thought. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on.
But of course, politics being politics, you can't show your cards.
Yeah, right now because of what you're saying,
of
the
course.
political environment.
Yes.
So you're merely probably protecting the candidates.
Of course.
From a lot of things that could happen to them.
Of course, but like I mentioned earlier, for now, our candidate is Dr. Lungu. But if Dr. Lungu is not available, then there are other options available. Plenty of options.
I hear you, Mr. Tembo.
Yes.
Mr. Tembo, I came across a letter that appeared to be written by you, which includes the following parts. It says, "Dear Honorable Given Nominda, I would like you to tell me if you recognize the letter and if it was written by you." Part of it say, "I wish to request from yourself, as I hereby do, that you provide my committee with an exculpatory explanation within 7 calendar days regarding the meetings you have been having with the senior leadership of the Socialist Party and other unknown persons in the recent past. These meetings were held without the sanction or knowledge of the alliance, which is the Tonse Alliance, and only came to light because of some leaked photos." Do you recognize this letter?
Yes.
Was it written by you?
Yes, it was.
Great. My question to you is, Do you suspect that Honorable Given might be involved in the plans to take over the leadership of the Tonse Alliance to remove President ECL as chairman?
I wouldn't call it suspicion, Shasta. Maybe suspicion would be a very strong word to use for a colleague such as Honorable Given Rwinda. What I would call it is concern. Yes, we are concerned, and that is the reason why we decided to write to Honorable Given Rwinda for him to give us an explanation. And once we review that explanation, then that concern will either be allayed, meaning that it will be addressed, or we might seek further clarification. So that is the state of things at the moment. There's a saying in, or maybe before I come to the saying, let me emphasize that for any member of the Tonse Alliance Council of Leaders meeting another opposition leader, there's nothing wrong with that.
In fact, I was coming to that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I was coming to that, actually.
Whatsoever. Any member, we are politicians.
Yes,
and we are allowed to interact with our colleagues.
Very much.
You understand? So there's nothing wrong whatsoever. But if today I'm seen meeting a particular politician, let's say I'm seen meeting President Hari Kalava, and the following day, just as an example, a plan is unveiled of President Hari Kalava is captured on audio trying to take over Tonse. You understand? And I've been meeting with him. Pictures are there. Then the membership of the Tonse Alliance has a right and a duty to question me and say, President Sean Tembo, we have been seeing you fraternizing with the President Hari Kalava, and now there's this audio of which has leaked of President Hari Kalava plotting how he will take over Tonse, and he's disparaging the Tonse chairman, laughing at his medical situation. Do you have anything to do with this? They have a right to ask me that question. And this is exactly what happened in that letter, where we are asking Honorable Given Rwinda, we are asking Honorable Rafio Nakachinda to say, look, the two of you have been fraternizing with the leadership of the Socialist Party and other known persons, and now we have this audio of the Socialist Party. It doesn't matter who recorded that audio, by the way, whether it was government agents or any other person. The bottom line is there is that audio, and that audio unveils a scheme to take over the Tonse Alliance. It also disparages the Tonse Alliance chairman, mocks him, ridicules his medical situation, and so on and so forth. You understand? So we as the Tonse Alliance have a right to reach out to our brothers, Honorable Nakachinda and Honorable Given Rwinda, and ask them for clarity to say, do you have anything to do with that? If their answer is no, then we move on. If their answer is yes, then we decide what disciplinary measures to take from there. It's a simple matter.
The two gentlemen in question, your colleagues.
Yes.
What I would ask is, before you formally wrote to them, did you engage them in any way, even by phone? Or?
We did make an attempt, yes.
You did make an attempt? Yes. How did it go? How did it go?
The phone calls went unanswered.
Okay. Let's talk about the chairman, the chairman of the Tonse Alliance, yes. Dr. Edgar Chagolungu.
Yes.
Are you in touch with him? Is he okay with you? Or does he know of the letters you've written to his PF senior members?
So, DJ Shasta, just to clarify the way the Tonse Alliance operates, okay? The final decision maker in the Tonse Alliance, in terms of the way the Tonse Alliance is structured,
yes,
is the chairman. Okay, it's the chairman.
Who is ECL right now?
Who is President Edgar Chagolungu. So there can be no action taken in the name of the alliance without the sanction of the chairman. You understand? Yes. So even if the Tonse Alliance is invited, just as an example, to a church program, let's say the Anglican Church invites us to a church program in Charleston, where we were invited. I received the invitation I cannot make a determination on whether to proceed with that program or not. I'll send it to the chairman, we'll discuss it, and the chairman will advise to say that particular invitation we can attend, or that particular invitation, I think let's not attend, or if we are attending, either Honorable Chifum Banda should lead the delegation and go to that church program, or you, President Sean Tembo, lead the delegation, go to that church program, or Honorable Given Winda, lead the delegation, go to that church program. You must understand, Shosta, that the Tonse Alliance chairman is not dead. He's very much alive. And we live in a technologically advanced world. I can pick up a call right now and call him, and he can be part of this conversation.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So, to answer your question, every action done in the name of the Tonse Alliance has the blessings of the spokesperson, or rather,
I
the
know you
blessings
said
of
this,
the
but I
chairman.
just want to put it in simple terms. The letters that have been sent to...
They had the sanction
they had
of
the
the chairman.
sanction of the chairman.
Yes.
What is the chairman's view on the audio that was leaked?
You'd have to ask the chairman that. I can't speculate. I can't speculate what the chairman's view would be. You understand?
Producer says there's a phone call. Hi there, good morning. Hi there, good morning. Hello? Okay, they don't want to talk to us. You could give us a call by dialing the numbers on the screen. Hi there, good morning. Okay, all right. So you could use the numbers on the screen and give us a call and talk to Mr. Sean Tembo. Hi there, good morning. Hello?
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Very fine, thank you. Your name, sir, and where are you calling us from?
Fantastic. My name is Muntu Mususu Genomak, and I'm calling you from Osaka, Zambia.
Muntu Mususu. Okay. Sir, you only have 2 minutes. Please go ahead and talk to Mr. Tembo.
Thank you very much. President Shoni Tembo, good morning.
A very good morning to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Firstly, I want to say that I want you to know that I am praying for you. I'm praying for you. I've long identified that you present the gesture that is required in this country today. And I like your honesty and sincerity in handling national issues, from Uka up to Tonse.
Thank you.
I want you to know, together with all your leaders, that the people of Zambia are looking up to you people. People of Zambia, President Sean Tembo, are suffering. Kuli azimai makomboni mumkazinguluka mpenza azimai wangera mashopu ya maluandizi kupempa tupamela nikogole senkoni tupamela. People of this country are suffering. So all this balingering and the disunity that is being put across in the Tonse Alliance, all these people who are planning because of their ego selfishness, they should know that they are putting the lives of this people of this country at great risk. So really, Mr. Moderator, I don't want to waste much of your time. The purpose of my calling is just to tell Shoni Tembo that if there's a person in this country whom you can depend on in terms of analysis or understanding of our political issues, it's President Shoni Tembo. And I'm encouraging everybody to ensure that we support this man. This man means well to this country. And even in his articulation, you can hear what he's saying. Very clear and to the point. If the people want to join Tonse, let them be sincere and honest. This issue of selfishness and greed, you can't all be presidents at the same time. You can't all be presidents at the same time. People of Zambia need the liberation. You have seen how people are suffering in this country. So whichever political party that is trying to bring confusion in Tonse, tell them that we are watching, and we are watching very tightly.
Your time
and
is
we
up.
will be after them.
Your time is up, sir.
Thank
you, sir. Mr. Tembo, you told me a while ago, or you told us a while ago, that all the actions that are done in Tonse Alliance are actually done by the blessings of the chairman. For instance, you don't get a written response from both Honorable Nakachinda and Honorable Given in the next 7 days, or you probably just hear them saying what they can say on their Facebook pages, rubbishing your request to write to them. Is that the same as disrespecting the chairman? Would it mean the same as disrespecting the chairman?
I would say yes.
Okay. I think that's what I wanted to clarify. Do you think the ongoing confusion within the alliance is eroding the public confidence that because you gave the people an alternative? Do you think?
First of all, I don't agree with you, Shasta, that there's confusion.
You do not agree that there's confusion
in the Tonse Alliance. What we're doing in the Tonse Alliance right now is just undertaking or implementing basic internal processes of discipline. That's what we are doing. And don't tell me that our organization should not be a disciplined organization, unless that's what you're telling us.
It should.
That whenever we try to discipline members who go astray, then that amounts to confusion. Because in my view, it doesn't. It's just the internal processes of any organization. Even a church. A church has the internal disciplinary procedures which are followed.
So if you're trying to discipline members, doesn't that amount to the presence of indiscipline and confusion?
First of all, at this point, I must mention that we have not disciplined any member.
But you're in the process.
I can't say that the process we have started will culminate into disciplinary action. Otherwise, I'll be preempting the process itself. So we need to run through the process. If it results into an exoneration, then it's an exoneration. If it results into disciplinary action, then it will be what it is. So at this point, it would be very wrong to actually speculate.
Yes. I'm not saying there's already a process going on. You and me know that the Alliance has written to its members to explain certain actions.
Yes.
Right? That the actions that are not standing very well with the Alliance.
Indeed.
Yeah. So shouldn't that amount to... Because if everything was just okay, I don't think there are going to be any letters of anybody asking for explanations. It means that someone has done something that looks like they have gone astray. But now that's why you're trying to get a clear picture. That's why you're writing to them.
What I'm not agreeing with you, Shasta, is your submission that invoking disciplinary processes of an organization amounts to confusion in that organization. At this point, I would say it's very premature for anyone to conclude that there's confusion in the Tonse Alliance. Maybe tomorrow or the other day, there might be confusion. But as at now, there's no confusion in the Tonse Alliance, no.
Awesome. Someone earlier on said that you should tell the people clearly what plans you have in terms of changing the people of Zambia. What I also want to find out from you is, other than the manifestos written by lecturers, a lot of English and whatnot, what are the clear, doable, attainable plans? Because Zambians, time and again, they've been lied to. They've been told things that are not attainable. Like, this will happen in 2 minutes, and 10 years later, nothing is happening. What are the attainable plans you have for the people of Zambia as the Tonse Alliance?
So for us as Tonse Alliance, we have two key objectives, which we believe, when pursued and achieved, will economically liberate the people of Zambia. Number one is the objective of continued infrastructure development across the country.
Yes.
That is an objective which was pursued with reasonable success by the Patriotic Front government of President Edgar Chagwa. We intend to continue very strongly on that path and reverse the lack of progress made in the past 4 years under the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema. The second key objective that we intend to achieve for the benefit of the people of Zambia, which I would say is an innovative and different approach to things, is to promote entrepreneurship. Now, when you talk about entrepreneurship, a lot of people have a simplistic approach to it. And they talk a lot about it without doing the things that are required to achieve it. It's like you're trying to light a fire, Shasta, you can't just keep blowing on the fire. Meanwhile, there's just one log, and that log is wet. It doesn't matter how much you blow it; it will not light up.
It will never.
So if you want to light a fire, and a big one, first of all, gather enough firewood. Make sure that firewood is dry, and then you can blow. Because when you have dry firewood and you are blowing, it will light up.
Yes.
You understand? So the current approach by the UPND government in terms of entrepreneurship development is akin to a situation where you have one wet log and they keep blowing it. For us, we ensure there's adequate firewood. What do I mean exactly? When you look at our population, Shosta,
Yes.
and when I talk about the population of Zambia, I don't mean just the town dwellers, because people have a tendency to think that Zambians are these ones you are seeing in town. There are actually more Zambians in the rural areas and peri-urban areas than they are in cities. So when you talk about bringing development to the Zambian people, you should not just think about the town dwellers. You should think about the people in the villages as well. So as Tonse Alliance, we believe that we need to work with what's already on the ground. And what is on the ground? The main economic activity of the Zambian people is agriculture. Okay? That's the main economic activity. Most of the people in this country, the only time they hold money in their hands is when they sell their crops. That's the only time they hold money in their hands. So we believe that if we are going to develop the entrepreneurship of this country, we need to work with what's already on the ground, which is agricultural activities. So how do we do that? There are certain bottlenecks which prevent these peasant farmers from being able to increase production and earn more from their production. What are those bottlenecks which the Tonse Alliance intends to address? Number one is the issue of access to inputs. When we talk about access to inputs, we are talking about giving fair access to farming inputs to all Zambians, regardless of their political affiliation. Both members of the Tonse Alliance, members of the UPND, members of the CF, members of the SP, all of them will be looking at them as Zambians, which is contrary to the approach taken by the current administration in terms of empowerment. Whether you talk about farming inputs, whether you talk about cash for work, whether you talk about CDF, they only identify UPND members and supporters as Zambians. We are going to change that. Number two, production alone is not enough, because if you look at the statistics in one of the reports that was prepared by the UNDP, about 40% of our agricultural produce goes to waste. Goes to waste. So what's the point of recording a bumper harvest if you cannot sell that bumper harvest and realize benefits for the people? You understand? Yes. So what is the key to that? We as a Tonse Alliance will ensure that we implement two key interventions. Number one, put up adequate storage for our grain. Adequate storage. Like the vision that the late former President Michael Sata had. He wanted to put up 2 million capacity grain storage facilities, underground grain storage facilities in each of the provincial centers. So that if there is a drought in Northwestern province, you don't need to ship maize from Chipata to Northwestern. You just go to Solowezi, dig in the storage, the reserves you have, and take to Kasempa. As simple as all that. So the first thing we are going to do, and which also falls partially under infrastructure development, is set up long-term grain storage facilities in each of the provincial centers. And then from there, once we've stored enough grain to feed our people, even if we have 10 years of drought, we are then going to facilitate the marketing of the agriculture produce for our people. So that when a peasant produces 30 bags of maize and they just need 10 to feed their family, the other 20 will facilitate market for them at a good price. Market alone is not enough. You need market at a good price. And grain has got a lot of market out there. What you need is a government which can facilitate that market. There is no way that Mr. Gondwe from Chasefu can go to Ethiopia and look for market for his 20 bags of grain. But the Ministry of Agriculture in Zambia can go to Ethiopia, strike a bilateral agreement to export, let's say, 2 million tons of grain. And then come to Zambia, go and get that 20 bags from Mr. Gondwe, go and get that 30 bags from Mr. Handavu in Gwembe, go and get that 10 bags or 50 bags from Mr. Chirofia in Chaturika, in Ruapula, put it together, facilitate transportation, and export it to Ethiopia. And before you even export to Ethiopia, use your own money from the Bank of Zambia, pay these people the moment you get their grain. Don't wait for that payment from Ethiopia. Pay these people. When you do that, you are empowering those people. You do that 2-3 years, I can assure you, Shosta, you do that 2-3 years in a row. Next time you go and visit Mr. Gondwe in Chasefo, you find that Mr. Gondwe has bought 2 oxen to help him till the land and a plow. You visit him after 2-3 years again, you find he's got a small tractor. Because you are consistent and you are visionary, you are focused.
Because of time, Mr. President, how would you, as a Tonse Alliance, deal with issues to do with Mopani and KCM?
There are a number of issues in the mining sector.
And are you happy with how they are being dealt with currently?
Of course not. Of course not. I'm particularly disappointed that we had to give away Mopani, which was in the hands of government. We had to again give it away free of charge. You know, our philosophy, maybe let me say my philosophy, because we have not discussed the issue of the mining policy within the alliance yet. But my philosophy, as Sean Tembo, in terms of the mining sector, is that you need a 50-50% partnership with the private sector.
50%?
Yes.
50-50?
50-50, yes.
Okay.
You as government and the private sector. Meaning that in all the mines that in this country, the target should be for government to own 50% and for the private sector to own the other 50%. Such a model works very well, and it has worked very well in a number of countries, including Ghana, including Senegal, including Mali, including Botswana. Botswana relies on diamonds, and the main diamond mining company there is a company called the Botswana. It's a 50-50 partnership between the Botswana government and De Beers, which is an international diamond mining company. So I'll explain, if you allow me, Shosta, just some of the benefits.
Quickly, so that we can just pick 2 calls and then we can close.
So you need the private sector participation on a 50% basis because you want them to be able to bring innovation, and you want them to bring other ideas that are coming out there. And then you need the government's 50% participation to ensure beneficiation of the citizens.
Yes.
You understand? We can't be selling our copper. We see our copper crossing Kazungura Bridge every day, but we don't have anything to point for other than the holes in the ground. We need to benefit. So, but again, I have always prescribed to the philosophy of the late former president, Frederick Titus Jacob Chiruba, that it's not the business of government to be in business. Okay. Whenever you try to nationalize entities, those entities are unlikely to operate at premium efficiency and effectiveness. But when you have a combination of the private sector and the government, then you strike a perfect balance. Okay. So if you have a 50-50 arrangement, first of all, you ensure that that investor is not running away with tax evasion, because you are sitting, you've got representatives on the board, so they can't do Mingalato. You are sitting on the board. Additionally, you are going to ensure that that investor is not abusing the local economic players, the local suppliers and contractors, that they are paid on time and not abused, because you are sitting on the board. You know, so the benefits to mining go beyond just getting a share of the profit. It's about how the mining sector is able to support other sectors of the economy, including the employment of citizens. You can't have a situation whereby you go to KCM, you find that everyone from the position of supervisor is a foreigner. And then we have graduates in engineering being churned out from Copperbelt University, University of Zambia, Mulungushi University, and so on and so forth, on an annual basis. Where are those people going? You find that a graduate in metallurgy or mining engineering is selling hardware at town center. Who has taken their job? It is the foreigner who is employed at Kalumbira mine or at KCM. So why should that be the case? If we can benefit through employment creation, we can benefit through taxation because you give tax holidays to these people, then how are we going to benefit? We are the owners of the mine, of the minerals that are being mined.
Let's accommodate some calls before we come to a close. Hi there, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Great, thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
This is Mr. Teska calling from Matera. Good morning, Mr. Tembo.
Good morning, sir.
Sir, you have 2 minutes starting now. Please go on and talk to Mr. Tembo.
Okay. My contribution, sir, Mr. Tembo, please just an advice. First of all, please try by all means don't engage like people from UPND like Mr. Nkombo. Don't take that man near Tonse Alliance. You know, the only moment you do that, you definitely destroy the alliance. Leave those people away. Take them away from the alliance. On the issue of mining, I'm following it up. And to say the mines should be nationalized or just allow investors to run the mines, I think Mr. Tembo, you're on point to say at least we need to have a 50-50 concerning the mines. And my suggestion as a youth, the way we are suffering in this country, my humble suggestion is that it's better if the government can have a 50-50 with the foreign investors in those mines. It's better if we can set up some institution whereby we process those minerals so that we create jobs for us, the youth. Because, you know, you are creating job to foreign countries, to their people if we are not processing those minerals. In fact, there is no any other mine investor who can say that there is no profit in mines. For how long have they been in this country if there is no profit, if they are getting losses? So on that one, Mr. Tembo, if you are to form the government as Tonse Alliance, please try by all means to consider about all those issues. There is no investor who can say that there is no profit, of which they've stayed a long time in this country, meaning there is profit. So on that one, please try to utilize initiatives so that at least you can make this country better than each and every time us, the youth, we are suffering. Me, at the moment, I'm 34 years old. And then we are hearing rumors or stories to say the UPNB are letting themselves to have done 90% of their promises. In conclusion, sir.
Please conclude.
In conclusion, I just want to conclude in this way. UPNB, they are boasting to say they've managed 90% of their promises, which me, I don't see it. Because if they've managed that, why are we suffering as a people? Me, I'm just simple skilled manship, of which I'm depending on projects. I'm depending on activities in society.
Sir, thank you very much. It's 2:30, 2 minutes 30 now. Thank you. We appreciate you. Sir, Mr. Tembo, 90% of promises met by the UPND?
That's a joke. Yeah, that's a very big joke. And it's a pity that, you know, despite their continued failure, the UPND are incapable of admitting. Because when you talk about the things that matter to the people, you're talking about, number one, the cost of living, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that hits everybody. For us to be able to be on this program right now, we had to eat something for breakfast. That costs money. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it would collapse here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when you look at the cost of living, Shasta, you realize that when the UPND took over office on the 24th of August 2021, the cost of living as measured by the JCTR basic nutritional needs basket for a family of 5 in Osaka was standing at about 5,100 kwacha. Mm-hmm. Okay. As we speak right now, for the month of March 2025, the JCTR basic nutritional needs basket for a family of 5 in Osaka is standing at about 12,100 kwacha. Mm-hmm. That's an increase of about 145%. Okay, that's a huge increase within a period of 4 years. That's a huge increase. How many salaries have increased by that margin over the past 4 years? To say, I used to get a 2,000 kwacha, now I get a 4,500. I can't think of any salary. You understand? So what that means is that the Zambian people are poorer today than they were when the UPND took over office. And the UPND as a government, if they were humble, if they were people with humility, what they were supposed to be doing right now is apologizing to the Zambian people for failing to achieve the things they committed themselves to.
Mr. President, one would argue that the UPND have done some employment in the health sector. Teachers, they've helped the students with the bursaries, and these initiatives like the free education and also things to do with the solar plants initiative. Don't those count as some of the gains that you and me can appreciate?
Employing people in the civil service cannot be an achievement, Shosta. You can only consider it as an achievement if